Hello, year one, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you like the stories and the science project I made for you. Today, I got you a new story called Totally Bored Boris. And of course, as usual, we look to the cover of the story. We have the main character of the story, this Boris, the bear Boris, who looked bored. Let's start the story. Boris had played with all of his toys. He had read all of his books. But now he didn't know what to do next. He thought and thought, but he could think of nothing to do. Boris was totally bored. Finally, Boris got up and went to his father. He tooted his trumpet and said, "Let's do something." "I am doing something," said his father. "I am busy painting. Why don't you go fishing?" "Fishing is not fun to do alone," said Boris. Please do something with me." I can't right now," said his father. "Why don't you read a book?" "I'm tired of my books," replied Boris. Boris hoped that his mother would do something with him. "I'd love to," said his mother, "but I promised your little sister I'd bake some cookies with her." "Why don't you help us?" "No, no, no!" cried Boris. "I hate my sister and I hate baking cookies." He stomped back to his room. Boris could hear happy noises coming from the kitchen. The chattering and the laughing made him feel even worse. He decided to go to his tree house. "Maybe there's something to play with there," he said. He took his trumpet with him just in case there wasn't. But as soon as Boris had climbed up the tree, he saw that there was nothing to do. It was as boring as being back in his room. "What can I do? What can I do?" he asked himself over and over again. There were lots of things he didn't want to do, but nothing that he really wanted to do. Suddenly, a huge cardboard box came walking by. From inside came the voice of Boris' sister, chanting, I am on my way to build a castle, but no one will know where it is. It's a secret." From his tree, Boris could see exactly where she was going, building a castle, he thought. "What a boring idea. If I had that box, I'd make a spaceship out of it." He kept watching as his sister and her friends began their work. Soon, Boris saw everyone pasting cutouts and buttons on the castle and painting pictures on the wall. Boris knew what he would have done instead. A spaceship would need rockets and aerials and lots of other things. But then he remembered that he was much too bored to do anything anyway. The next thing Boris saw was his sister and her friends carrying streamers and crepe paper. "I guess they are going to have a party," Boris thought. "So what? I hate parties." But he kept watching them from his tree house. "Mother gave us all of her old jewelries and clothes to play dressing up in," his little sister and said very loudly as she passed under Boris's tree a few minutes later. "I will be a princess, but you won't see it," she added. Of course, he would see it, Boris thought to himself, and he acted as if he weren't even interested. The dressing up sounded very noisy and cheerful. Boris imagined what he would dress up as if it were his party, a spaceman, or even an alien from a stranger planet. But then Boris saw that the others were having a good time anyway. That made him feel more out of sorts than ever. When they paused so the princess could take a snapshot. Boris threw twigs down at them, but they were having too good a time to notice. Then his sister said to her friend, "Now let's have a party. Oh no, I mean a royal feast." Remembering that she was now a princess, she walked proudly by Boris's trees again, this time carrying a bowl filled with warm cookies. The sweet smell of the freshly baked cookies drifted up to Boris's tree house. The pitcher of juice made him feel thirsty, but nobody paid any attention of him. They were too busy laughing, eating, and having a good time together. "This is too much," said Boris. Boris couldn't bear it any longer. He picked up his trumpet and blew it as loud as he could. Bout! Then again and again. Bout! Bout! When he stopped, there was silence. There were no talking or noise or giggling. The trumpet noise had worked. It had put an end to their silly fun and stupid party. Boris felt very pleased with himself, but suddenly he heard his name called from below. "Boris, a trumpeter, is just what a royal feast need," called out of the guests. "What about it? Will you be the king's trumpeter?" Boris was about to say something very rude, but then he thought for a moment and said, "Maybe I could be the trumpeter, but I will only do it if you get me 20 cookies." "How about 3?" asked his sister, looking at all the almost empty bowl. "Okay," said Boris, "that's fair price," and he climbed down from the tree. And the party turned out to be fantastic. The trumpeter trump the trumpeter trumpeted, the king drummed, the royal court danced, and Boris forgot all about his boredom and nothing to do. But he didn't forget about the cookies which the princess had saved especially for him. What do you think the moral of this story is, guys? I guess the moral of this story is you have to give your friends a chance when you are bored. Maybe when you will have a good time together, you will forget about your boredom. So be nice to your friends and give them a chance about their new games, and you will have fun, of course. I hope you like the story, and wait for me in another story. See you. Bye.